Another powerful, if not the most powerful image type is an infographic, ladies and gentlemen. So we are going to be talking with Anthony about the power of infographics, and I highly suggest that you use them for your listing because, as we can see here, and we've talked about before, people just don't read the text in your description, unfortunately, and the brain really could like to see things visually displayed. So hope you guys enjoy this video. Now, this interview got cut a little bit weird, so we're going to be picking up where Anthony is talking about an example of the power of infographics and some stats, and then we get into it.
What they did is they showed one group of participants just a photograph, right? And then the second group of participants, they showed a photograph plus text. And in the first group, they found that that same group was only able to recall that same information 3 days later, 10% of the time. But when they saw the images plus text, they were able to recall that same information almost 60% of the time. Right? And so it's not directly related to making buying decisions, but it kind of makes sense why it would work, why something with text and image would help you, that would help your sales to convert at a higher rate and would help your customers to make the buying decision easier because it's making it easy, right? You want to be, right in their face with what's the product, what are the benefits so they can get in and get out quickly, add the item to their cart. So when what's coming to infographics, the big thing that I want to focus on is showing your product and then really using text or graphic design to highlight usually 3 maximum key selling points or key features of the product.
I see some people that do infographics that are 9 points on an image, and I just glance over it because I'm not going to read that. So
yeah. And in fact, even the image that we have up on the screen right now, so this is the, you guys all know this product, it's a silicone barbecue glove for the kitchen. And so even this, like our portfolio currently, this is based on stuff we were doing about 6 months ago. And we've kind of shifted the focus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. It's okay, it's kind of mobile friendly, but think about this, right? If you have 9 images that you can put in your image gallery, there's no reason to put all 5 of these points into one infographic when I could break this up into 2 infographics and say the same thing, but a little bit easier to digest as a customer. Think about this, right? Like if what you want to stay away from in infographics is anything that looks like a large block of text, because the first thing that people do when they see a large block of text is they're not going to read it. So just focus on just imagine that your customers are, maybe not that they're stupid, but that they're just really rushed. Someone's messaging on Facebook. They want to go somewhere to do something else. So they're in a rush. You want to convey your points and your messages to them in the most succinct way possible, in the most minimalistic way possible.
I completely agree. So we're going to take a look at some of your infographics now. So we obviously are looking at the silicone glove here, just to see what you guys have, and maybe we'll highlight some key things here. So this is the I like this zoom. This what is this called? The magnify.
Yeah, it's like a magnify feature. It's mainly to show, a certain area of the product. And so here we're saying that this is food grade silicone. What I would want to focus on here is that it actually has textured fingers on the glove. Think what we talked about earlier with your photography about how you want everything to be purposeful. So like showing that this is food grade silicone is okay, right? But I think what would be more helpful is to show, okay, I'm zoomed in, I'm showing the texture. Let me say something related to the texture of the glove.
Oh yeah, or the 425 degree. Like I'd want to see somebody's hand, or I'm sure at some point you guys have somebody's hands in the fire. But
yeah, it's like someone grabbing maybe something out of the oven, right? So again, we have 5 points on this infographic, and this could be made even better. We have 5 points on this infographic. I would want to put in the fact that it's heat resistant up to 425 into a whole separate infographic that's related to someone actually touching something that might be 400 degrees or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. Well, then we could take a look at the famous fidget spinner now. Another one you guys did.
Yeah, I mean, so this is a cool one, right? The client in this case,
cool.
they wanted us to focus on, hey, it's going to fit inside of your pocket. It's got strong bearings. It's durable and safe. This is kind of that exploded image that what I was talking about earlier. If you're actually working on 3D renders, with this one, it was actually possible to do without 3D renders just because you can disassemble your fidget spinner pretty easily. But right, if I'm talking about the bearings, I'm going to want to show the bearings separately from the rest of the thing. If it's durable and safe, you want to say that, hey, it's got a high quality plastic case. It's not going to break apart or hurt your hands. But see how the photo here for the right size. Not only am I seeing the text on the screen saying it's the right size, I can visually see it's going to fit inside of my pocket. right? So it kind of is matching the picture with the text. It's functional, it's purposeful.
Oh, I like it. So let's see, what else have we got here? Okay. So this is another kind of just some lifestyle. It's almost like a lifestyle infographic here, kind of, or like just different use
Yeah,
case.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, so exactly right. Like this is one that might be a little bit busy, but it's something that looks good. It looks impressive. So, it's got a good design. It's got the logo in the bottom left of the screen. I'm seeing the fidget spinner in a lot of different lifestyle scenarios. So again, it just looks clean. If I see this on a product listing versus another fidget spinner with just the product on a white background, this one looks more legit. If it's the same price, the same number of reviews, I'm probably going to add this one to my cart instead.
The bear claw,
Yeah, so
meat
not
claw.
for fighting, but for for shredding meat. But I guess you can use it however you want. Here we're just going to point to different areas, right? Like it's very clear that we're pointing to it's got sharp teeth. It's pointing to the width of the handle, or that it's safe to use, and then that it's got a good ergonomic design. Right. This is a good example of it's not super impressive as as an infographic, but we're using bright orange colors to emphasize the points. This is going to be mobile friendly. It's not too much to digest. It's you can really quickly see, okay, here's the features of the product.
Oh, ooh, that's kind of neat. Yeah, so just some different ideas how you can go about displaying that information. So essentially the whole point here is that you're taking your bullet points, essentially, the non-SEO part, and getting that across.
100% agree with that. Like if your infographics are really high quality, then it's going to reduce the burden of your actual copywriting from your bullet points or your description, because people are going to get all the information they need here. One thing I will say about infographics, because I personally really like the way that this looks. I think it looks really clean. You've got these circles on the left side, and then you're following the circular pattern. This is something that's going to be a little bit more difficult, right? Like finding a photographer to get a good image, that's pretty straightforward. But this is like, I'm not a designer. This is like really difficult to communicate to someone unless you want to copy exactly what your competitors are doing. This is difficult to communicate. So this, when you're getting a designer, you're going to have to just find someone who's talented and they're creative, because all you're going to tell them is like, hey, I want these 4 features. Can you make that look good in an infographic? And maybe if you give them a few examples, they might be able to do it. But this is something that people come to us a lot. People who are, we went to a show out in Vegas called Prosper Show about a month ago, and so these are some of like the biggest Amazon sellers in the world that come to this conference. It's a huge thing, and so they've got entire photo teams that in house that do all their work, and they still come to us and they're like, we just can't do graphic design. We're not very good at it. So that's something to keep in mind. You might pay a little bit more, maybe we charge $50 for an infographic. Some people might charge you more or less. But that's a good way to invest the money, because before I'd spend money on copywriting, before I'd spend money on lifestyle, I'd say get good looking infographics.
Oh yeah, I mean $50, definitely worth it, in my opinion. Yeah, and this looks awesome. And yeah, that's the hardest thing. I've tried working with so many creatives, and that's what I think is cool about you guys is you have trained and talented people that know Amazon and are creative. That is a very rare thing to have. There aren't that many people in the world that do that.
Yeah.
So pretty cool. Yeah, let's just take a look at a couple of the other ones here. So supplements, so what you guys are doing here is, especially in the other ones, definitely there are a lot of symbolism here, in addition to the text, obviously.
Yeah,
So
I mean the symbols, sometimes we'll call them icons. It looks really clean. It looks really good. Here we've got an example. We're showing a little bit of props in the background just to kind of dress up the image, because it would be pretty boring if it didn't have it. But yeah, symbols are just a good way to, I love icons. I think it does a good job, fat into energy. It's showing a fire flame. Like it doesn't necessarily need to be like a one-to-one of what the icon is to what the text is saying, but it does give a little bit more context on what you're looking at. It just makes it look clean. It makes it look professional, especially if they're custom designed and they're matching like whatever your color theme is.
yeah, and I mean, they might not even read these. Okay, they're probably not. They might read one or two or just skim over it, but it just has a perceived value when you have icons and these nice infographics. It's hard to explain, but it just adds that perceived value to your product. That hey, this is
Well,
the
and the thing too is like, look, it makes sense, because if I'm gonna go search for a product, I'm probably not just gonna open up one tab. I'm gonna open up 3 or 4 different tabs with products that are similar. And so if I'm looking at one listing and I have like 9 images that all look like this infographic, that look well designed, they look well put together, and then the other competitors are just the product on a white background, or they have low quality photography, it's just gonna look like it's a high quality product. and then you're going to add it to your cart. Like, it makes sense because the price between all of these different things, maybe it's $1 more or $1 less, or maybe the reviews, and a lot of people look at reviews and they think like, well, a lot of them are faked anyway, so they're not going to, base a lot of their buying decisions off of that. If your listing looks good, even if I'm not looking at this and I scroll through 9 images, I'm just like, this looks really great, I'm probably going to add it to my cart.
All right, you guys, so as you can see, this is extremely powerful to have infographics and definitely an important part of your listing. So if you guys are interested in getting infographics done, I suggest you go to Virtuous Graphics because they know Amazon. So not only can they do your photography, but they can go and get those infographics done too. And one thing is that you got to be really good and native for the Amazon platform. There's a few places that actually do design and Amazon well. You can get lots of great infographics made, but they don't always do it particularly tailored to Amazon. And so the best one that I've found so far is Virtuous Graphics. And I hope that you guys enjoy it. If you go down there, they give you a free analysis or whatever. You just go check it out. And I hope that you guys crush it with your product photos. And if you got a cool infographic, let me know. I like to see infographics.